This is Valley News Live at 5.
Good evening, everyone. Happy Friday. Take a look at this. This video is from our sister station in Rochester. Look at that snow hitting the area today. The roads were icy and slushy. Here at home, it's a bit different. Let's go straight to Chief Meteorologist Hutch Johnson, who can tell us what we can expect for the weekend. Hutch?
Thanks so much, Stacy, and good evening, everyone. As that Skycam view there showed up north, we have a lot of sunshine, but clouds in the Southern Valley, and you go into South Dakota, southern Minnesota, the blue you see there, bands of moderate snow and ridiculously heavy snow working its way into Wisconsin right now, the southern portion of it, and out towards Chicago, bands of heavy rain, a big storm system. We'll talk more about that in a minute. Right now, south and east of Fargo, Otter Tail County, Grant County into the Sisseton area, some light snow showers. But if you are traveling south towards Sioux Falls, notice the heavier band here, or southeast toward the Twin Cities, start to see some snow. If you get south of, say, Watertown, then we start seeing on DOT cams snow on the road, so the travel begins to get a little bit more tricky. And Sauk Center appears to be that point if you're heading in the general direction of the Twin Cities, where we have winter storm warnings in effect for tonight. For us, well, let's talk a little bit about how much snow we could see. 6 to 12 inches from the Twin Cities and points south, anywhere you see the dark blue colors. Best chance at a foot now appears to be moving into northern Wisconsin. For us, teens north, 20s to near 30 down to the south on a very quiet Friday evening. Your planner shows temperatures falling into the teens this evening. Cloudy skies and light winds. All in all, pretty quiet weather until next week. We'll have an update on First Alert weather days for Wednesday and Thursday here, Stacy, coming up in just a few minutes.
And then it'll be our turn. All right, thanks, Hutch.
Yeah.
Xcel Energy customers could soon see higher electric and natural gas prices. Minnesota regulators say the utility asked to increase electric rates by 9.4% and natural gas rates by 4.9%. The state public service commissioner says it's already approved a partial increase and has started reviewing whether to raise the rates further. Final decisions are expected in 2023. New for you now at 5, a dangerous criminal off the streets after a joint investigation by multiple agencies. Moorhead police conducted a traffic stop on Wednesday as they believed a man was bringing a shipment of drugs into the metro for distribution. 48-year-old Charles Fraction was arrested. Police say they found 75 grams of a possible cocaine fentanyl mixture, more than 4 grams of meth, and another unidentified powder, which had a street value of approximately $15,000. Police also noted several outstanding felony warrants, multiple states, including burglary, domestic assault by strangulation, and terrorizing. Authorities are looking for those responsible for burglarizing 3 businesses in Castleton. The Cass County Sheriff's Office says deputies responded to an alarm at the Red Baron Lounge around 4 this morning. They discovered a forced entry to a door and discovered that cash was taken. Sheriff Johnner also said on November 10th, Piper Tax Service and DJ's Plumbing and Heating were burglarized. They have not determined if all these incidents are related. A statue outside of Fargo Church is back in one piece. The statue St. Anthony outside of the St. Anthony of Padua Catholic Church had its head knocked off more than a month ago. The church says that happened sometime between October 30th and November 1st. Another threat of school violence is being investigated in West Fargo Public Schools. Officials say school staff was alerted last night about a concerning social media post that was aimed at Cheyenne High School. The district says the person responsible for the post has been identified. At this time, the threat has been deemed not credible, and students continued with in-person learning for the day. This comes after a threat was made toward Cheney Middle School, Liberty Middle School, and Heritage Middle Schools this week. Police say those threats were also deemed not credible, but it did lead to 3 arrests. A juvenile was charged with terrorizing in connection to a potential threat up in the North Border School District as well. The trial in the shooting death of Daunte Wright continued today. Minneapolis officer Michael Johnson took the stand explaining his body cam footage to the jury. Former police officer Kim Potter is charged with first and second degree manslaughter in the case. Johnson shared what he heard during the incident.
I heard something to the effect of, "I'll tase you."
And what happened after that?
I heard the verbal command of taser, taser, taser.
And then what happened?
And then I heard a loud pop.
Yesterday, prosecutors played video of the aftermath of the shooting, showing jurors images of officers pulling Wright from his vehicle and attempting life-saving measures. More than half of the families who lost a loved one in the Astroworld Festival tragedy have turned away Travis Scott's financial offer. The rapper offered to pay for the funeral costs of the 10 people who died during the festival on November 5th. At least 7 families have declined. The 10 victims died after a large chaotic crowd surge during Scott's performance. Other concert goers were hurt and more than 140 lawsuits have been filed. A ruling from the Supreme Court this morning will allow opponents to challenge Texas's highly restrictive abortion law, but it did not overturn the measure, sparking nationwide criticism and concern that it could provide clues to how the high court might be leaning on a separate case challenging the historic 1973 Roe v. Wade decision establishing a constitutional right to abortion. Jay Gray has more.
The fight that began in Texas even before the nation's most restrictive abortion ban became law will continue. The Supreme Court in an 8-1 ruling allowing a federal lawsuit challenging the law to proceed, but stopping short of overturning the measure.
So again, a court that continues to be very fractured on the question of abortion.
The Texas law allows private citizens to sue anyone who aids or abets an abortion after detection of a fetal heartbeat, usually around 6 weeks into a pregnancy. That's 18 weeks earlier than the standard set by Roe v. Wade. Calling the Texas law a, quote, bounty hunting scheme, the Center for Reproductive Rights labels the Supreme Court ruling unacceptable.
It leaves women in Texas, pregnant people in Texas, to be absolutely in a state of panic and disarray about when this is going to end. It is absolutely unconscionable.
Planned Parenthood says the court has abandoned the people of Texas. The decision comes just over a week after oral arguments before the High Court in a separate case, the state of Mississippi asking the justices to overturn precedents established by Roe v. Wade supporting a constitutional right to abortion. That ruling is expected to come near the end of the High Court's current session in June. Jay Gray, NBC News.
In other news tonight, records show some North Dakotans with low-level marijuana convictions have taken advantage of a policy change to petition to have their records wiped clean. In the past 2 years, only 70 people have applied for pardons. 51 of them have been granted so far. Attorney General Wayne Stingham estimates as many as 175,000 convictions could be eligible for pardons under that policy. To qualify, they need to avoid unlawful behavior for 5 years. More than a dozen major retailers are urging Congress to crack down on retail crime. The CEOs of Target, Walgreens, Home Depot, and others asked the government to take action on a rash of crime like the sale of stolen goods online. Upscale shops like Nordstrom, which has been the victim of flash mob smash and grabs, also signed that letter. A family in New York set a world record with their Christmas lights. Next on Valley News Live at 5, how many lights are in this masterpiece?
And in our northern counties today, beautiful sunshine mixing with the clouds, creating a gorgeous home of economy time lapse on this Friday evening. Pedro says there's a storm hitting the southern portion of the valley into South Dakota and Minnesota. And we're watching our weather for next week as a storm takes aim on the valley. Details are in your forecast next.
Valley